All right, welcome everyone to our May 2nd, 2024 Scio Township Environmental Sustainability Task Force. And is there anything people want to amend in the agenda? If not, we'll call it by consensus approved. Yeah, any communications correspondence? Have not received anything specifically around ESTF. Public comment and Pam, seriously, it's pretty much an open meeting, so you can always raise your hand or always comment. So
I know. I don't have any because I haven't been to your meetings in a couple months, so I'm revving up my engine again. So I'll probably just be quietly sitting here absorbing. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, Bob, can you send the agenda with the link to Tim Redmond?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, if I have his email, I'm not really sure.
Oh,
So
okay.
I apologize.
If not, I can do it. Hang on just a second. No, I can do that.
I'm not sure, but I probably could get it off if you got the ESTF group.
Yeah, I can send it to him.
Sorry. Tried to save
No
you.
problem. Okay. That's why you need your cell phones, right? Yeah. All right. Okay. Then we'll just go on to our focus group updates. Yeah, I checked in on the community energy management grants. They're doing, I guess, because they have 3 funding sources, they have a bunch of little due diligence, but we should know within 2 weeks. There will be a grant award. We just don't know if it'll be $100,000 or less. We do know that Ann Arbor Township filed right after we did. And I found out that Five Lakes Energy has they're working with several communities to file community energy management grants. So we're anticipating that they'll run out of money before the end of June. So we're glad we're in the lineup. Let's see, solar ordinance. I'm trying to think of which we have one of our May meetings. I think we're gonna, that'll be back on the agenda for the Planning Commission. And so that's good. And DTE has said that they will sit down and meet with us and talk about sort of, their infrastructure plans for the area of the township, and also, kind of review what we're thinking around solar. So that'll be good. I'm going to try and get that done so we have, some input prior to that meeting. So while DTE is in a good frame of mind. And I think from an energy standpoint, I think that's about it. I haven't heard anything else about other solar projects and so forth, although I know the zoning folks still say they have several residential solar projects every month. They just keep coming in. So that's the good news. All right. Let's see, the tree fund. Yeah, Bob.
Oh. Waving to Tim. He was waving to us.
Oh, Tim. Yay. I promised Tim that he could go ahead as soon as he came in, so we'll jump to Tim.
Well, I want to hear. I'm going to get off at 7:30.
Oh, okay. Well, why don't you just go ahead, and that way I don't have to worry if looking at the clock. So go ahead and do yours.
Of explanation to everybody else, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law just drove in from Florida about an hour ago, and I have to be the salmon griller for tonight, and I've got it all set up for my wife to start the charcoal and all that. So she'll do that, but that's why I have to get off early.
What's your address, Tim?
Pardon
gonna
me?
say, what are
What's
we
your
cooking?
guess?
Yeah, you guys want to all come over?
Sure.
You probably already eaten. We are late eaters here.
Mhm.
Um, I think I want to say this before I jump into any other stuff. There's an election coming up for our township, as you all know, I hope. And I think it's an important one. I've been, through this group and through the environmental, no, I'm sorry, the Land Preservation Commission. I've been a little bit close to what goes on with the Board of Trustees and so on and so forth. And it's been a little difficult. If you guys know any about that. If you don't, I don't want to be the one to say too much about it, but it's been difficult in the township meetings. There's just so much negativity going on, and I think we deserve good. I think we deserve better, and so I'm urging everyone to take a really close look at the candidates when that comes up. That's going to be in August, and vote in vote your mind, and tell your friends about it. Tell your neighbors and your South Township people. In that vein, I was at the Catherine Hayhoe lecture. Did you go to, Kathy?
I did.
Which was at the Weggy lecture, that the U of M C's School of Environment and Sustainability puts on once a year. And it was really excellent. And Catherine Hayhoe had a lot to say, but I really appreciated what she said about, look, this climate change effort that we are going through is making good progress in many areas, and it's not all bad news, which you can tend to. Right, Kathy, if I'm not saying the right thing, you can fill in. But what I really like that she said is that what she stressed, the most important thing that all of us can do is talk about it. Talk about what we need to do and what you think about that, and relate to your family and friends and network, whatever network you got. Because the coming election for the president is an important part of that, and sustaining the progress that has been made and is being made. And so that I just wanted to mention that too. That's a good lecture, and the C School puts it on. It's free. It's at Rackham every year. I recommend them. Earth Day came and went, and I was traveling at the time, and I barely noticed. Did anybody do any significant things on Earth Day? Just curious to know.
Well, I was at the farmers market with OSI and the Sustainable Food Business Group, and the 2030 group with a bunch of C students. So that was fun.
Oh, well, yeah,
We did tabling basically.
right.
This is
Yeah,
Jeff. Sorry, I'm on my phone, so I'm not turning the camera on or anything. But I gave a lecture to a group of middle school students on Earth Day about composting.
good. Glad to hear it. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, we need to participate. That's all. I just as an update on honeybee farm and the stacks of logs and so on. They've grown since I wrote that article that got published in the Scio newsletter, and they look better though. They've been out there dressing them up a little bit, topping off the piles with, with wood chips, and I think they get sawdust dropped off there, and, whatever they can, which helps to break down the, I'm blanking on the name of the Hugo culture, that's what it is, which helps to break down all the carbonaceous material, which is all wood, basically. And I'm glad, I was out there 2 or 3 days ago looking around. Nobody was there to talk to, but I'm glad it's being done. Many people think it's an eyesore, but I think they just don't understand. That's part of what happens in agriculture. Eyesore things happen. And you don't have to see it as an eyesore. So that's just a short update on that. I think it's gonna be okay. I think the citizens are gonna recognize in time the usefulness of the rows of Hugo culture that he's put together there. And if you haven't seen it, check it out. Do you know where Honeybee Farm is? Anybody doesn't know?
Where's
Honeybee is at the corner of Zeeb and South Township Road. No,
Scio Church.
not Scio.
oh,
Scio
okay.
Church.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
When I'm talking to people, I tend to lose the words I'm trying to say.
Tim, I have a question, Pam Boyd. Is there any way that Honeybee Farm can do outreach? Or like a on-site presentation for those neighbors who were complaining about how it looks, so that they get to have questions and answers? Is there anything like that possible?
Pam, I think so. And I talked to Richard about it. Richard is the owner, along with
Yep.
his wife, of the farm. And yeah, he offered that. He said, yeah, I'd be happy to talk to anybody, anytime. So I think that could be arranged.
Okay,
And they, Pam, they have, they have events. And they'll probably come around to having events, some kind of an event once the strawberries come in. I don't know, but yeah, if you
Okay.
think that's a good idea, then I can talk to him about it.
that would be wonderful. And I'll share that with some of the people that I know that were unhappy about that. Just to, because I really think that dialogue can really be helpful in this situation. So, okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, dialogue is the key to understanding that kind of practice, that Hugo culture practice. And yeah, I'm impressed with it. So I'd be happy to talk to Richard. I'm wondering if we should go long enough until put that off until the sustainability fair, which is in the fall.
I'm wondering if they wouldn't want to do something on site when the strawberries are ready. So people could come and, do the you pick thing and do a little tour with the horticulture and
Well, how would people find out about it? I mean,
through Pam, that
we
whole
could-
newsletter.
Yeah.
Pam, you could publicize that, and there's an article time coming up for the Scio newsletter.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, since you had written the article for the last Scio publication. If you and Richard can get together and set, like maybe a Saturday that they know the strawberries are going to be open, so people are going to be there normally, and it would be, the strawberries might be a good icebreaker, something like that. Put it in because that's, what, isn't it? Didn't you say that Well, that's the July publication date, for the summer 2024. Well,
That'll be a little late, but
yeah. Mhm.
but I think, if you're back in doing the newsletter again, we certainly can use that. And then Mary Gillis will put a banner up too.
Yeah, I think having Mary do that, but if you want to send me something, Tim, once you get an arrangement with Richard, I'll put it in the newsletter.
Well, Pam, it's a you pick farm and
Right.
strawberries are just the first crop that comes in.
Yep. Yep.
They,
So there's
they,
going to be a lot of opportunities and we don't have to rush at it. It could,
they,
go ahead.
they had a last fall, I want to say, they had a nut festival. They planted a bunch of chestnut trees or something.
Yeah.
And they had stuff all over Facebook themselves. I mean, I was very aware of any events they had coming up just from Facebook and Nextdoor and that sort of thing. So I think that they also have their own mechanism for getting information out when the
They-
strawberries are ripe and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, true. They've probably got a pretty good mailing list.
Mhm.
Okay, so that and Mike Vestergaard, I've talked to him a couple of times and he has arranged at his farm for a beautiful spot for community participation in growing food, little plots of not farm ground, for garden ground that if you don't have much in your backyard, and it's really good what he's done there, and he's building a building at some point that's going to be for community education. So that ought to go in the newsletter. Pam, have you ever talked about that in yours?
Not, well, I mentioned it when Vestergaard won the bid for the property. But I can talk about that. Have somebody send me something.
Uh-huh.
I've got a newsletter that I've got to work on this weekend. And so if you can send me something like today's Thursday, so by Monday.
Well, I'll try. I'm gonna have to
Okay.
get it from Mike and hopefully he's, in town.
Yeah,
Pam,
I'd be happy to put it in.
Thank you for that, Pam. What is your email address?
It's Pam
Mhm.
at, and it's 4 words, buyer's agent Ann Arbor.com.
Buyer's agent, Ann Arbor. I remember that.
Yep.
Ann Arbor. Okay, got it.
Super.
Thanks, Pam. Okay, and I think the last thing I wanted to mention here is that I talked to Megan DeLue. Do any of you know who Megan is? She's married to Andrew DeLue, who chairs the Environmental Council for the county. And Megan, up until a month or two ago, was the director for the Washtenaw County Conservation Service. And she brought in a huge amount of new participation and created some tremendous programs. But she's been taken away by the state, by the Department of Ag and Rural Development. And she is the key person that they have for looking at sustainability in agriculture in the state. And it's a great thing. Megan is a powerful person and she's very knowledgeable and she's just great. And I'm just glad to see that, and it'll have an effect on what we do in this township at some point. It's in its early stages. So that's about all I can say right now. I'm done. Can't hear you, Jan.
Tim, a thought, I know we need to, do the sustainability fair for our, the June 10th is the next newsletter deadline, but it might be nice to highlight Vestgard's plans in the Scio newsletter as well.
Sure, just a little blurb.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it can talk about the community gardens and, how he's, just, and, the, whatever the structure that he's thinking of building and, it's sort of his vision. I think that would be a really good and timely piece because there is some stuff going on there. I'm sure people have observed and, letting people know. Also, I wanted to let people know, I did put a link in the chat, and there is you can watch the video of Catherine Hayhoe's lecture. So if you missed it, you can watch it on your own time.
Yeah.
Well worth it.
Worth watching. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree with you. Okay. Go, Jen.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay. Just an update on the tree fund. It is legal review, but I think it's going to move forward. And in fact, I was surprised when I was doing the metrics for our My Green Communities submission. That's the tool that they wanted you to use for the tree cover, the canopy cover. And and Norm, I think it's going to be, we'll have to get back together because it was only 30.8% for Scio. So I'm sure iTree is using a different kind of metric for how they're classifying the canopy cover. Your metrics were higher and more in line with what SEMCOG had, which was about 50.8%. So it'll be interesting to kind of dig into that a little bit.
Well,
And see what go ahead.
We have a lot to report on that. We've been working since then, and
Wow.
I was out for a little while with an operation recovering from that. But there's been a lot of ground plowed under on finding how all these estimates work, and they're all the thing I'm finding is everyone was done differently, so they're not very comparable in some ways. So getting a trend out of these is going to be very difficult, and I have a solution for it, which we can go into a little later. That shouldn't be too bad.
Oh, cool. All right, very cool. It's almost like you have to do different metrics and do it different ways, but so that should be going to in I think one of the May meetings. It will probably go to the Board of Trustees, and when it does, I'll probably send out an email so people can either email or support it. Bob, do you want to talk a little bit about the report card that came out for Huron River Watershed?
Sure. Basically, they worked with, here, let me pull up something. No, that didn't work. So the Huron River Watershed Council worked with a group out of Chesapeake Bay, and I can't remember their name. I was trying to pull it up. And the Watershed Council and was representing the Huron River and basically the Huron River, but there were 5 total rivers in southeast Michigan that were evaluated for their water quality. But it involved a lot of metrics, including economics. So it went beyond just the water quality, but it took into account many metrics in 6 different categories. And the Huron River got a C+, which was the highest rating of all the watersheds that were examined in southeast Michigan. Some of them got failing grades. So it's Not a good situation down closer to downtown Detroit, but you can imagine that the more industry you have along the river, the worse off it'll be. So the Watershed Council has pushed that out, that information. And Jan, I thought I might put a report out to the next Board of Trustees meeting from the Watershed Council perspective, because they're asking for updates. And I was going to include links to the report card. And maybe I should send it to the Environmental Sustainability Task Force people too, so that they put out newsletters, and I put some links so that you could get into their different blogs that they put out. It just gives their perspective on what's going on from the environmental standpoint.
Great.
Anything else you wanted on that, or is that?
That's perfect. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that would be good. Why don't you maybe even email Kathy too with the link, and she can put it in the minutes
Okay.
too. That'd be perfect. Okay, or you can put it in the chat if you want. Either way.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think the public comment period is closed for the Gelman plume. Was that till May 1st? I think it was. I don't know, Pam, I don't know if you know or not, but anyway, there were a public comment there. Hopefully it looks like they're going to make it basically a Superfund site for the Gelman plume, which would be great. Yeah. And all right. Transportation. I don't know, Kathy, do you want to, talk a little bit about the transportation grant?
Just that we are working on trying to get a SUNCOG grant for, the grant is just for getting the planning done for improving safety, traffic, multimodal transportation through the Jackson corridor. So yeah, we're in process of putting together a grant application to SUNCOG, and don't know what else to say about it at this point. I mean, it's a very short timeline. I think it's due in about, we have to get it to Board of Trustees in a week and a half or something.
In a week, I think.
Not even that. So
Right.
yeah, it's a very short timeline, and we're scrambling to get as much together as we can for the Board of Trustees to approve, so we can get it to SUNCOG in time to meet their deadline, which is, I think, late May.
That's the 24th.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
it's a $50,000 project, and they pay for 80% of it. So it's a good good option.
yeah.
And then I do want to, we are going to be the mobility committee and anyone else interested. We need to form a sort of a millage education committee to talk about the public transit millage, which is going to be on the August ballot. What the trustees approved was to renew and restore the millage. So that means it's basically going to be the same millage rate that the last millage was, but what happens after a millage is passed, the Headley Amendment actually decreases the amount over time. And so this will go back to the original millage rate. And the good news is that it will allow us to actually improve public transit. And some of the things are already in August. The ride, AAA will start going every 30 minutes along the Jackson corridor, and Wave is going to meet that so that there'll be, better coordination or, with them. So it'll be a faster, if you're going into Ann Arbor or going back out. it'll be faster, and a better, better connection. And then they're also investigating a transfer, so that you wouldn't pay 2 fares, you just pay 1 fare and be able to transfer to the ride and go into Ann Arbor, and the same thing going out. So yeah, which should be hopefully streamline things. Yeah. So I don't know if there are folks that would be interested in working on that. Let me know.
Yeah.
And Kathy, yay.
Yes.
And Pam, we should also, once the trustees articulate a little bit more, I think they have to charge this group. I don't know the process, but we'll probably need to get the word out to see if there'd be some other folks that would be interested in working on it. And so this isn't, it's again, educating and outreach to the township about the millage. It isn't promoting voting yes for the millage. It's, the more neutral education piece. And I think it'll be, I'm trying to figure out how we can get a map done, because with the 2 different transportation entities, it's really hard to figure out, the AATA has the routes, then the connector doesn't have a map for Wave. And then there are certain services within 3/4 of a mile of the fixed routes, and it's just very hard. And it'd be so nice to have a visualization of that to show people. Yeah, because most people don't know that there's door-to-door service in Scio Township via Wave. So yeah,
That was actually a real surprise to me, was the door-to-door. Yep.
So yeah, I think there's a lot that people can learn, and maybe it'd be fun to do some kind of little challenge to have people try it. But okay.
Jan, by the way, I did put it in the chat, the link.
Oh, great.
To the report card.
Perfect.
Or it's actually to the article in the Huron River Watershed Council's website. So that takes you to others too. So.
Okay. And Kathy, can you copy that off the chat?
I did. I got it. Yep.
Okay, great. You're a pro. Okay. Anything else on mobility?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't have anything.
Right.
I feel like we should have something in that newsletter that's coming up in the summer, because about like an educational piece about the general benefits of having a good transit system. And the specifics of what that millage would be.
Okay, great. Yep. Good point. Hope they have lots of pages in that newsletter.
I know.
the native landscaping I got cut.
So did my EV fire article. So
well, at least yours appeared. Mine didn't appear. There was I think they met their they had more than enough stuff. Okay. Let's see. Materials waste and circular economy.
I had hoped that maybe I had something to report, but that didn't materialize. Reason being is I just discovered that Scio Farms is having I don't know if it's every Thursday or first one of the month, some kind of like a coffee thing up at the office. And I thought, okay, I'm going to push myself down there because this is a great chance to meet our manager. Because she took over a few months ago, relatively new person. And in particular, I wanted to talk to her to see if she'd be interested in, if Stevens, who took over our trash pickup, that was maybe a year ago, maybe, if they possibly could do some kind of recycling thing in here. But I walked in, it was the 2nd of the month, so people are still paying rent. Amy, the manager, was there, stuck eternally on the phone. Only one staff person was there. There were 3 residents in the office. The phone was still ringing. I thought, this is a bad day for this. So I'll have to try again. But I
Yeah.
do want to get that conversation going with her, so.
But that's good to know that they're doing the coffee thing, because that would also be an opportunity. And which day of the month, the first something?
It's on Thursdays, and I don't remember now if it's
Oh,
once a month or if it's every Thursday.
Mm.
And it turns out they didn't. Pardon me, I think I just found a tick crawling on me.
ooh.
I'm gonna have to check this out
Oh, yeah.
in a second, but yeah, that's kind of scary. Anyway,
Yeah. Well, that
yeah,
might
so
be
they
a good
couldn't even
opportunity.
do that part either because they didn't have enough people to pull that
Yeah.
together.
When you talk to her, see if she would be open into doing a public transit. Maybe the coffee hours could actually, a couple of them have themes, and maybe there's an opportunity there to talk about the public transit.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, sure. I like that.
Mhm. Or anything else. I mean, we could do
Right.
the recycling, we could do the composting, we could do, whatever people might be interested in. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Jeff, do you have anything?
I should be following up more with the community composting and the e-waste disposal initiative. Charlie, I talked to Michelle again, and yeah, she confirmed that Dexter Township used Midwest Recycling, but they charged a lot. And there's a place in Huron, Padnos, Padnos. They will supposedly pay for e-waste. So I think it's worth giving them a call to say, could you park a truck at Township Hall or something on a given day, and you can have all the e-waste you can truck away, something like that.
That would
That
be
was the
great.
company you mentioned in the email to me a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I know. In fact, I almost got close to finding time to follow up on that. And I wanted to try to do maybe it would have to be a real rough estimate of what it would do to have Shupan do an electronics event. Because as you know, from what we said before, they can't tell us themselves. They can just give us some price of things, but they can't predict the volume. So
Right.
I was going to try to do like a minimum and then maybe a hopeful range so they could some idea of what to work with. But then just about the time I went to do that, I got hopelessly busy for a while. So
Mhm.
Yeah, I unfortunately have had life intervene as well.
yeah,
But I do want to keep moving forward with that.
Yeah, so maybe
Yeah.
we can, target doing something in the fall. It might, we just have to check out the election pieces, because we wouldn't want it to interfere with the early election. But try and think of that. And you gotta allow about 2 months, because it's gotta get, the actual funding has to be approved by the Board of Trustees, and sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we'd probably want to get it squared away in the summer sometime, to be able to do it in the fall.
Jan, would it work to have it at your sustainable fair? Because I mean, that's kind of two things. If you're doing it in Meyer parking lot,
Mm-hmm.
they might
That
have
would bring a lot of people in.
yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking.
Interesting.
I would hesitate to try and do a big thing. I mean, I've seen the electronics collections at Pioneer High School, and basically it just fills up that entire parking lot. Everybody's so busy. I'm not sure we want to go big the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think at Pioneer, they had a huge amount of staff work. That was a U of M.
Yeah. And some big trucks.
Yeah.
So for us, I think we want to start small, keep it, Scio Township residents only, and don't bring us a van load full of your old equipment. Bring us a few things.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
sorry, I was distracted. That was a tick crawling on me.
Well, I'm
And I
glad
mowed
you
my
found it.
lawn just a little bit before this meeting, so I'm thinking that means I got it my own lawn. That's
See
scary.
that, Charles? That's a.
Yeah, I got my
key.
first one
Yeah.
a week ago
Those are
too.
very
Yeah,
handy
right
for
out
getting
of
them
the
off.
This is the second one I found on me this year.
Mhm. Yeah, I've already found one on me too.
You
After
got me itching just talking about it.
Yeah, I know. Don't they tick you off?
I agree.
Anyway, I've got to drop off this call now. I'm at my
Okay.
destination, but I will be following up.
Okay, thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
You're welcome.
Okay. Nothing that I know of on resilience. I have not connected with Chief Hood except for the making sure we're coordinating on the native plant fair. So which Michigan Green Communities Challenge Report. All right. I don't know. Kathy, do you want to do that? Bob, do you want to, I don't know, talk a little bit about that? Either one of you?
I was hoping that you might have found out by now if they can give us a copy of what we submitted.
I sent them 2 emails. I think I'm going to have to send one directly
I
to,
see.
what is it, Danielle or something. I did it through their website and I have not gotten a response. So, but
Kathy,
anyway, yeah.
I can do just a tiny update.
Yeah, why don't you just, the process that we did.
Yeah.
So. Mhm.
Well, first of all, at least our separate group met, I guess through an exchange of files just to see what people thought. And Charlie had some updates from what I had submitted and Jeff. So we ended up modifying that. And then all the groups were represented by a handful of us, Kathy and Jan and myself and Janine, is that her?
Yeah,
Not-
Janine. Mhm.
Janine. And between the 4 of us, we put together responses to the My Green challenge, communities challenge, so that we could submit it for their input. And I'd like to have everybody see what we submitted, because Charlie, I gotta admit, we made modifications on the fly when we were communicating amongst ourselves. So
Yeah, we'll
that
try
was
to
our
do that. And,
process.
yeah, and yeah, because I also was able to submit the statistics that we had too, the ones that, you know, we had already done with the you know,
Oh,
either
good.
through the pros plan or from our climate action plan. So we don't have all the statistics that, you know, they're working to track, but we had maybe 3/4 of them. So that I thought that was pretty good. So I am gonna, I will follow up with the person and see if we can't get a copy of the submittal, because that was just weird that, you know, that you submit this and usually they'll say, you know, you can go, here's a link to or they email it to you or something like that. And there was like nothing. And it was not those things. And you couldn't really, it would have been like, I don't know how many screenshots to do it. It would have been just kind of impossible. So anyway, but we did score in between silver and gold. So that will get us some technical support next year. We'll see exactly, I forget what the, you know, once they confirm it and so forth, we'll know what that is. And I'm working with I'll find out a little bit more about it. I'm working with I think it's a city of Rockford, Michigan, which is north of Grand Rapids. And so we have a volunteer from their community, someone in the city, and a fellow from the Graham Sustainability Institute, and then I'm a technical advisor, I guess. And so we have a project to work on this summer, you know, with the city of Rockford. So I'll find out a little bit more about the process and so forth. So that'll be good. And then so the real advantage, and I'm not sure if it's gold or silver, that you get this is what you get a technical advisor and a fellow to work on a project over the summer. So that would be, I think that would be kind of neat to be able to do. So there are benefits. Plus the community energy management grant. I said our study that is a part of that grant would be shared through the Catalyst Communities, which is the resource vessel, if you will, for the work that everyone's doing. So it would fit very well in the energy category. Okay. No updates from Meyer other than we're a go. I have to figure out how the township can pay the deposit for the tent so we can reserve the tent pretty early to make sure, because the big tents tend to disappear. So, but we're all a go there, and it'll be, and I think I said this last month, it's the area next to the garden area. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
The native plant workshop.
The native plant workshop, yes. Yes, I've almost finished the flyer for it, and I'll share and see if anybody has any thoughts on the wording or anything, because I was going to send that to you, Pam, and it'll go. We have our list of HOAs and the contacts that we had from doing the sustainability plan that we'll send out, the HOAs, the co-housing contacts and so forth. So the flyer will go out that way.
Jan, will that flyer, can that flyer link be put on your ESTF webpage?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So, because I probably will not be putting something out until after June 1st, but if you can send me, or if I can use the link, if you want to send me verbiage for people to look at it on the web page, it can go out in this month's newsletter as an upcoming event.
Okay, great. I will do that. Okay, so it's almost done. Basically, it's called the Scio Fire Solar Park Restoration Native Plant Workshop, June 1st, 10 a.m. to noon. And I wanted to give Mike Apple is the person who's doing he did the design work and so forth for the restoration. We'll be planting native plant plugs between the parking area and the solar array, and then Mike's firm will be, and maybe I should say that Mike Apple Environmental Design, they'll be finishing the remainder of the project, which includes sowing a specially designed seed for under the solar array and then restoring an area of it. I could do, if people think it'd be interesting, he has just a little sketch of the area that is going to be encompassed by the seed sowing. A little blurb about why native plants. And then I've just started this part. There'll be 4 columns, and I wanted to do, these are the plugs that we'll be planting, and I wanted to put pictures of the stuff that we're planting. So that's sort of the flyer, if you will. So you get a sense of what we're planting, and then it just says for everyone to bring work and gardening gloves and a trowel. That's basically all you need.
Nice.
It looks really good. And I'm really happy we have this, because I got in touch with Wild Ones about getting it out. They have a group that's pretty active and pretty extensive on Facebook. So I was told I could put anything right on that. And also our president was suggesting that we could even put it as an event on our website. That is Wild One's website. And the one other question, she had a little list of questions to ask about it. The one other question that you don't address here is there plenty of parking right at the fire station for people that drive there, or is there another place they should park?
I think there's enough parking at the fire station. Maybe if we park at the township hall and walk over or something, that'd be great. But yeah, there's quite a bit of parking there.
Okay.
I don't think
this is, yeah.
I think if we have 20 people, that's going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you could send it to me too, I'll get it onto their Facebook page and possibly also onto their website.
That's awesome. Okay.
Jan,
Yeah.
I don't want to have anything distract from that event on that day, but I put a link in the chat just now that came from Huron River Watershed Council, and they're having on June 1st
Yeah.
from 8 to 9 p.m. I don't know if you, or actually free and open to the public is from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Hmm.
So there's an early bird hour. So, but let's see, are they selling it?
It's
Yeah,
that
it's a
big native
marketplace.
plant sale and stuff, right?
Yep,
Yeah. Actually, I
that's
could
at the Farm Council.
the farm, yeah, Washtenaw Farm Council grounds. So people could, you know, go get some plants and come learn how to plant them with us.
That's right. Or you know, if they, what time is the one
It
that,
goes 10 to 12. So they could learn how to plant and then go down and buy some plants.
they could.
Mhm. If you want to, I could put that on the bottom of this probably.
If you thought that it would be appropriate that sale, it would be going on at the same time,
Mhm.
and people might be able to get there in time, might not.
Yeah. And I think, you know, even if people come and plant for an hour, you can
Oh,
you can
okay.
plant a lot of plugs in an hour. Yeah.
Okay,
You just want to, at 10 o'clock, you know, Mike will do his sort of thing, and then, you know,
good.
Mhm.
Then yeah, it would be maybe a good idea.
okay, that's a good idea. I will do that. Okay. Yeah, might as well, you know, happier, you know, you can have a whole native plant day. Learn how to plant, go buy your plants and plant them. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, I'll try and get this out. If I will get it out for sure by Saturday. I'm gonna try and get it out tomorrow. Because I'm almost done with it. So okay. Yeah, you can see how bare it looks. So it'll be fun to have some color and topography there. Okay. Pam, when do you need the link by?
Well, I'm hoping to get the newsletter written Sunday, polished up Monday.
Okay.
So if by Monday to
Okay.
send out on Tuesday.
Okay. It'll be to you this weekend.
Okay, super. Thank you.
Okay, great. And Mary, I mean, if we just have the it might be a link to the website, but the blurb will be there. Because Mary won't, you know, she'll post it on the website. So I'll just have to give you a link to the website.
Okay.
And then Mary will probably run a banner when it's, you know, like the week before. She'll put it on the banner. Okay. SEMCOG.
There's nothing to report since the last time.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Pam?
Yes, actually, Bob, I have a question. Can I put the Watershed Council information in the newsletter?
Yes, absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
they'd love it if they got more people coming and doing what they're doing.
Okay. And a question, you remember when, and this is to all of you because groupthink here. Do you remember when Ann Arbor, the city of Ann Arbor came to Scio Township and gave a presentation on updating the city of Ann Arbor's water facility plant? And at that time, there was discussion of whether Scio should change where they get their water from or to stick with the city of Ann Arbor. And they chose to stick with the city of Ann Arbor. So my question to you, Bob, is were one of those rivers that did not get a C+, were they one of the rivers that the alternative water source would have been?
Well, as I recall, it was the Detroit
Yes.
water supply. And they're
Yes.
taking some of that from, I don't really know where what their water supply came from, but it comes from either the lake or groundwater. And I'm not sure, does anybody know? I just know it was Detroit's metropolitan water supply that they were talking about.
Yes, they get it from the Detroit River up toward the northern part of the river, somewhere up near Belle Isle.
So if it's the Detroit River, the answer is no, it's not part of the watershed
Okay.
of the land. That's part of the whole lake flow.
Mhm. Does Yucca get its water from Lake Huron?
Does who?
Yucca. That's the Ipsy.
No,
I-
remember.
I'm thinking I heard that, but I don't know. Okay. Anyway.
All right, well,
Mhm.
thank you, because at least I'm feeling like, okay, we've got our watershed, at least the Huron River watershed is testing better than others, and that's a positive these days, so.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, okay.
it actually included more than just water quality. So there's a lot that went into the evaluation, Pam.
Okay,
And
Alright.
and I think the city of Ann Arbor there's on their website, they're doing tours of the water treatment plant, and
Mhm.
they have a special they're already looking at, I don't know, dioxane treatment. They've been looking at PFAS and so forth. So they have a little mini kind of lab, if you will, that they're, looking ahead to some of the things that they may need to do in the future, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, they already treat for PFAS.
PFAS. Yep. Yep. And I think
I
it's the dioxane that they were looking
didn't
at.
think they
Yeah.
could do that, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah. And they got an award for best tasting water again. So
so that's it, thank you.
okay, cool. All right. All right. I have to send out the schedule. We're going to keep the same link and so forth. I'll just extend the in the agenda had the other proposed meetings. I don't know if people I just sort of kept it on the first Thursday of the month. And I think it's the September one that we may, that's the one that sometimes conflicts with the Huron River Watershed fundraiser. Was it Suds on the River or something like that? But I haven't seen I don't know if their calendar is up or not. I don't know.
oh yes, it is. It's on their calendar. I just don't happen to. Let's
Okay,
see.
maybe we should look, and so I could, because we could always go to the next one for that if we needed to. Let me just see. I'm looking it up right now. Oh. Oh yeah, it's called the Native Plant Expo and Marketplace. Yeah. Oh. I don't. Oh. I don't see Suds on the River on their calendar. Maybe that's because it's fundraising or something. Huh. Well, we can always switch it if that becomes an issue. Okay. So I'll just calendar it that way, and then the township will put those dates in the township calendar as well. So the summer articles are due June 10th, which is right after our next meeting. So far I have Vestigard's plans, something about the the sustainability fair and the millage. So education. So probably I'll follow up with Tim and Kathy. Maybe you can take the public transit piece, and I'll take the sustainability fair piece. And
I think Chris was going to work on that. I haven't talked to him in a while, but I think
on
Chris was,
the millage good public transit. Well, how about
no,
if
no,
the
no,
committee does that? The
no, I
mobility
think
committee.
Chris was going to work on the sustainability fair one, because
Oh, he was?
I think that was the plan a couple months ago anyway.
Oh, okay.
So I can talk to him and see if he was planning on it, or unless you'd rather do it.
Well, maybe he can do, we can collaborate on it.
Yeah,
Chris, because I know he had an interest in making sure that the EV stuff did.
right.
Yep, okay. And okay, so it'll be, yeah, well, that way I can start recruiting some people.
Right.
Yeah. All right. I think then that is it. Norm, you wanted to talk a little bit about the mapping. I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
skipped over
I
that.
think it's about time for us to finish this up on our end, and we'd like to work with the whoever's the appropriate people in the township to transfer the information and just the readmes about the individual files and things like that. Plus our experience in doing this. We started out thinking we were going to end up going one way, and we went a very different way, it turns out. And I think one of the things that we discovered with this project is that there's a intermediate category that is very confusing. There's forest and there's grass or low-lying plants, and then there are a lot of what we call old fields in my work where people don't really farm them anymore. There's brush and there's trees growing up in them, and they are a mixture category. They're the ones that are older and have been there a while look a lot like forest. The ones that are just starting out look a lot like pasture. And and that's why I think our initial number was so high. So we have to decide how the township wants to treat those categories. Are they forest or are they something else? Because functionally, biologically, they are not equivalent to a 60-year-old forest.
Yeah, yeah.
So we need to kind of come up with that workable definitions, operation definitions. And then we will be providing the township with two products that I think, well, there will be. This is an example of oops, I can hold it up here. This is a impervious surfaces map of down along Jackson Road. The white is impervious and the black is everything else. And I think, as far as I think, been told that there are no current impervious surfaces maps of the township that are total area, and that certainly would be this accurate. So that'll be a nice thing for folks to have. And then on top of that, we can go into the forest layer, which will have different categories in there. Let's see if I have it upside down. I should show like that. There's some agriculture up there by the wing farms, and then all this blue and bluish white is different flavors of forest out there that we're coalescing, collapsing into ones that make sense for you. So we need to talk to the people who we really think are going to take hold of this and tailor it to their needs and make sure it's appropriate for their needs. For example, like counting trees is not something we would want to do with this because we can't see individual trees.
Yeah.
But air photos can do that, or humans can do that, things like that. So there are things that this will be good for and things that probably not so good for.
Yeah.
So we need to help the people it can be good for, find it that it exists and tailor it so the output can be fit right into their decision models. So I think we're just about ready to go. It was a very interesting project from our standpoint. We wanted to finally get a handle on the research that it took to break these categories apart. So we benefited quite a bit from that. And I think you will have one of the better vegetation maps that any township has around here, certainly. And we're very useful for a lot of different groups in the township.
Okay, that's great. I think one of the issues we have is, and I'll talk to like land preservation
Yes.
and PPP doesn't, I haven't heard anything about if they extended the director thing or.
Yeah, well, I can work with them on that because I know those folks.
Yeah. So we'll probably have to do that. I have a feeling it may end up getting transferred to Carlisle Wortman, but they were also looking for a new GIS person. So you know.
Glad to give them access to the files, not the intellectual property.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have to talk about that, and
Well, I'm at your disposal, so just
great.
call me and we'll
Yeah,
talk.
thank you. Those, I mean, I haven't even just showing those products, the impervious surfaces is one of the metrics that my green community, Michigan Green Communities was after. And I didn't feel comfortable doing, there's an impervious surface percentage that SEMCOG gives, but
Yeah.
I just wasn't, that wasn't something I was comfortable reporting, that where the canopy, they said specifically iTree, and that way, because it's a statewide thing,
Right.
that one, it's a uniform, everybody's using the same
Right.
technology
helps to
for
have
that
that.
reporting.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Well, that sounds good. Great. So I will also email everyone the flyer, so you can, within your networks too, like Charlie, you can, spread it around, your community, other people who, have neighbors or neighborhood emails or whatever, for the native planting workshop. And I'm hoping we can get, I think, it won't be a big job if we have 20 people. If we have 3 people, it's going to take longer than 2 hours. So, looking forward to it. So thank you, everyone.
Minutes.
Bob. Oh, minutes. Yep.
Well, just before we do minutes,
Yep.
well, I wanted to say, I just put something in the chat. It's called
Oh.
My Farm Link, MIFARMLINK.org. And I went to the Nature Conservancy for a lecture, and they have this web page that they've started, and this website will be to link farmers to land and land to farmers all across the state. And I don't know whether we want to, I don't know if this would be the right avenue to get it out to the public, or through, I'm not quite sure. So I just thought I would run it by you and see if we could help farmers get, if they want to buy something, or if they want to farm something, or if a farmer has land that's sitting unused, or they want to sell it.
Mhm.
So help them.
Okay. Yeah. I would also, Bob, maybe send it to LPC too. And Tim. I think Tim mentioned this once.
Oh, did he? And I wish that
I
Tim
don't know
was
if it
still
was this
on.
one or another one, but they were trying to match.
Okay.
But yeah, maybe, do you want me to, or do you want to send it to him and just see if he knows anything about it, and
I'll
if we
get a
should
hold of
promote
it.
it? Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, sorry, minutes. Kathy sent out the minutes and I downloaded
great.
them, and
If you want to be really picky,
uh-huh.
under public comment,
Okay.
the second sentence, last word should be the, and there's a W at the end of it.
Okay,
Like I said, that's really picky.
I'll fix it.
Great. Thank you for reading them. All right. So, barring any other corrections? All right. Well, by
Sounds good.
consensus, yeah.
Yep.
Approve the minutes. Great. All right. With that, hopefully you can, still get out and enjoy another gorgeous day. Oh my gosh.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Bye. Good night.